Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Noor. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much. It's very early, right?
No, it's not bad. I'm usually up by 4 or 5.
Oh, beautiful. So, how are you doing?
Okay. And how are you? I mean, I'm still working. We have special gowns and masks and gloves for when we see
Yes,
mothers and babies. I hope it protects.
yes. I hope so too. Yes. Yeah, I'm still working as well. Um, as Birth Kuwait, our center is closed, so we're not seeing moms in the center, but hospitals are still seeing. So, yeah. In behalf of Birth Kuwait, thank you so much for this beautiful, like accepting this is really an honor to us because a lot of moms are waiting to hear from you and they're waiting to know your answers to their questions because now we are living in a time that we've never been there before, right? So it's
Right,
a lot
right.
of to the moms and so yes. So I would like to start. I'll just take a second so I can post the link to people in Instagram so they can join us. Yes. This is very nice for the moms because there's a lot of stress. There are moms
Hmm.
who are wanting to stop breastfeeding because it's like they had a plan to breastfeed for a certain time and now it's the time is coming and their first question is it safe to wean?
Well, I mean, if they're concerned that the baby might get sick, or even that they might get sick and pass the infection over to the baby, this is not the time to stop breastfeeding. Breastfeeding protects the baby against becoming sick. I mean, there's no such thing as 100% protection, but the baby is much less likely to get sick if he's breastfeeding. This is a lot of what breastfeeding is all about. Giving the babies immune factors through the breast milk, not just antibodies. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of immune factors in breast milk that help to protect babies against infection.
Yes.
Hello? Yes. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I could hear you. It just had a little break. Then, yes, we're back now. So your recommendations are for the moms who were going to wean. This was their time to stop breastfeeding, but because of their fear about their babies getting sick, it's better not to because of the immune factors in breastfeeding in general. Not only not only I love the word. So not only antibodies, right? So
Oh,
your
yes.
recommendations are to delay weaning for now. And I think there was this movement towards like it's not the time for weaning because all of this changing and like it's not as it's not as certain as before. Let's say there was ever certainty. So we're saying that there are a lot of uncertainties right now, and if the baby is relying on breastfeeding, it's not the time. So for God forbid, for any reason, there is a separation between the mom and the baby, and this is my next question. What are the recommendations for the moms who test positive? Because the WHO is saying do not separate, but in the hospitals, separation is happening, right? It's very hard if the mom is admitted to not be separated. So, what are your recommendations?
Well, absolutely. Again, if the mother is testing positive, don't we want to protect the baby? Of course, we want to protect the baby. And separating the mother and the baby is a good way to take away his protection. I find it outrageous, really, that people are doing this because they. It is obvious that they probably talk about antibodies in breast milk and all this sort of thing, but they don't really believe it, do they? And that's the real issue. Why would you separate a breastfeeding mother and baby because the mother is positive? Maybe the mother got it from the baby. How do we know?
Right, right. It's very important for them to stay together and for breastfeeding to continue. So, if that does not happen for any reason, recommendations are to continue expressing and give the baby the milk.
Well, that is not as good as
Or-
breastfeeding directly. But if for some reason it's absolutely necessary to separate the mother and the baby, well, it's not. It's hard to imagine any situation where it's absolutely necessary to separate the mother and the baby. Perhaps if the mother is unconscious. Well, I don't know. I think that if she's that sick, that can still be done. They can express the milk and they can give it to the baby. But a mother doesn't have to be awake in order to breastfeed her baby. And hospital staff can certainly put the baby to the breast.
yeah. It's I think the situation right now is more of um, because this is new, legislation are not in place, and there isn't much advocacy into that area. There isn't much of like the mom is like pushing the staff or the hospital like no I have to have my baby with me. It's not, because it's all scary and new. It's not like the usual birthing where moms have their birth plans, they know their rights, they're advocating for themselves, others are also. So it's all new and a lot of uncertainty. I think the only problem now is the legislation that are in place, that they are to separate mom and baby. This is the main problem. So
But
inshallah,
then,
with more moms knowing their rights and knowing that this is the right way, and it's even WHO recommendations. So like it's better for hospitals to be following these recommendations. I'm sorry, you were saying?
no, I was just going to say if hospitals want to protect the babies, if they want to protect the mothers, they really should be following the WHO recommendations. I don't think you need special legislation to say, well, this virus is new, therefore we have a whole new approach. No, if the mother had, I don't know, mastitis, it's important to continue breastfeeding. If the mother has influenza, it's important for the mother to continue breastfeeding. The only issue with this particular virus is that it's new and nobody has immunity unless they've already had the infection. So if the mother has the infection, why shouldn't she protect her baby? This is a perfect way by breastfeeding to protect her baby. And people need legislation to do this? No, they need to just think about what breastfeeding does for babies, and that certainly separating mothers and babies does not give the same protection, even if it's expressed milk. And second of all, separating the mother and baby and giving the baby formula is even worse.
Yes, yes, of course. There are also those moms who are evacuated, so they traveled recently
Oops.
and they are in home quarantine. So they are also afraid that they continue breastfeeding. So can you share the recommendations?
Yeah. So again, it's no different than if the mother is sick in hospital. If the mother and baby are at home, they should be quarantined together, skin to skin,
That's the
and
best way,
breastfeeding.
yeah. Yes, yes. Actually, I have seen like more moms not breastfeeding because of being stressed. So as everything is happening, labor was a mess, everything is not as planned because she did not plan to give birth during COVID-19 crisis. So it's hard. They have something. I'm sorry for this.
It's okay. It's not a
Out
problem.
of control. So the problem is that moms just given birth, they are in a lot of stress and they are not breastfeeding. So we always wanted people to know the importance of breastfeeding, but now don't you think it's more important than ever? Not that it wasn't important before.
It's more important than ever. Absolutely. I mean, when breastfeeding works, the mother's stress decreases. So let's try and make the breastfeeding work so that the stress is not there. And I think the information that we can prevent the baby from getting sick by breastfeeding should be out there in the newspapers and everywhere so that mothers, maybe who even didn't plan to breastfeed, should breastfeed.
Yes, yes, that's the thing. We're like encouraging moms to consider breastfeeding even if they didn't want to, or continue even when they wanted to stop. It's very important for them to take this into consideration for them and for the baby. They are getting angry. They're like clearly very passionate about breastfeeding as well. One of
Yes,
our
yes,
kids.
yes, and hammering.
So talking about the stress reducing for the mom, we're talking about immune factors. So this is time that we can advocate even more for breastfeeding. And what were the things that you were discussing in these days? Like, please share with us if you have any information about the breastfeeding in this time and how we can help moms more, because our questions are clearly, can I breastfeed if I test positive? Yes. If I test negative? Yes. If I evacuate? Yes. So it's always yes. So what other things you want to share with us?
Well, I mean, again, it's not different. Once you deal with the coronavirus and why it's important to breastfeed, I think all the other reasons that it's important to breastfeed are there as well. And I think that most mothers can understand the special relationship between breastfeeding and, between mother and baby. So here we have a special physical and emotional relationship between a mother and a baby that you don't get any other way, including giving breast milk in a bottle. So I think that we can. I emphasize this special relationship because I think that it's something that you could never get any other way. You feed your baby with breast milk in a bottle, it's not the same thing. You feed a baby artificial milk, it's not the same thing. So whether there's coronavirus or there's no coronavirus or there's influenza or there's MERS or whatever infections are around, the best thing is still for the baby, still breastfeeding and breastfeeding. Oh, I just lost the sound. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so no matter what, breastfeeding is still the best for the mother and the baby, and that we should encourage it, whatever's going around.
Right. Uh, if you still have some time to give us, now it's also Ramadan where moms are fasting, and they also have these questions about, does fasting affect breast milk? Should I breastfeed? Should I take? We have the permission not to fast if we're breastfeeding and if it affects the milk. So it's not an open, unconditional permission. It's only when it has consequences.
Well, we don't know if fasting has consequences for milk production. I mean, after all, during Ramadan, you do eat after sunset, right?
Yes,
So if you get the
and
same
finish.
number
So
of calories, it may or may not affect the breast milk, but we don't know. And I think that mothers say that it does seem to affect their milk supply, and I think that we shouldn't just disregard that because it's important for the baby as well. So yes, maybe it's different here. Most religious leaders say that that pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers don't have to fast if they don't want to. It's not got to do with milk production. So maybe every place is a little bit different. And even here, there are some that are very religious leaders who are very adamant that no, 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 you must not, sorry, you must fast. But then there are others who say, no, 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 absolutely not, don't fast. So I don't know. It's probably the same in Kuwait. Uh, People have different opinions, but I think again, mothers and babies, the importance of breastfeeding should not be underestimated, and it's not just about the milk production decreasing, as far as I'm concerned.
so for those who choose to fast, do you have any advice, any recommendation?
Well, I think that people when they fast tend to try to relax and maybe sleep and Lie down. Well, lie down and breastfeed your baby. That's fine. Let yourself sleep. And when you eat, I think over the 24-hour period, maybe you get adequate calories. I don't know. I think this is one thing that maybe in the long run you should be doing a study to see what mothers think about their milk supply when when they're fasting.
Yeah.
But it would be just anecdotal, of course. You can't prove it.
Right, right. Thank you so much for your time. It's really a pleasure for us to have you as Birth Kuwait, and we are very happy that you are coming and giving the advice to moms in Kuwait. And we have to thank you and thank technology for this, and we should do it like more often. We should
Yes,
just
absolutely. Yeah, there are other issues that come up.
yes. Thank you so much. Have a
Okay,
very good day.
thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Dr. Jack.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.